Hello, everybody, and we are live. Welcome back to another Sunday here in Negril. Hope everybody can hear me okay. I think we got the sound working okay today. Got the beach view as per usual. We have a nice little agenda.
We are live.
Oh, well, hold on. Let me turn off my computer. I got my channel playing in the background. 1 second. All right. Okay. We're good to go here. There I am. Hi, everybody. I want to throw my glasses on because I'm going to be squinting. All right, we're good. Welcome to the live, everybody. Another beautiful Sunday here in the grill. Oh, there we go. Just working out the cameras here. It's open. Hold on. Let me give it to you. Got a pretty packed agenda here. We got quite a few different articles that we are going to be going over. A lot of them are financial articles, which I think you all like. I know I enjoy sharing them. And a lot of it speaks to the progress of Jamaica and the direction that we're heading in over here. And I'm super happy to share that with you guys, with everybody out there. Trying to work out these cuts here. Let's see. There we go. We got the fade going on. That's the 7 Mile, of course. Afternoon, everybody. Good evening, wherever you're chiming in from. Thank you for joining. Welcome. Hey, Vanessa. Vanessa is, as usual, she is our moderator here. Hopping in all the way from Austria. Let me know where everybody's chiming in from. Hey, Ocean. Thank you very much. This is actually a Bula shirt from Fiji, which, as you may know, is my mother's side. So I'm half Fijian, half Jamaican, and this is a traditional getup, if you will. I have a couple of these. I love them. I need to get more. So it's actually, you can wear these in formal occasions in the Fijian culture, to church, to weddings. Weddings are, you see a lot of people wearing these at weddings. So always proud to rep my Fijian side. Yeah. So shout outs to the Bula shirt. I actually got it in Fiji when I was there back in 2017. Thank you, Ocean, for that. Hey, Linda, you are very welcome. Okay, good. Looking forward to having you back in October. Hi, Paula, chiming in from UK. Thank you for joining. Jamrock chiming in from Atlanta. All right, thanks for chiming in. Talk Up TV, Talk Up. Bless. Thanks for coming in, chiming in from Negril. Talk Up makes some great local films on his channel. Does a really good job. Very drama and exciting filled episodes he has. Kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. He has a great channel. That's Talk Up TV 1. Teresa, thanks for joining. Coming in from Orlando. Kingston 16. Welcome. Happy first Sunday, chiming in from California. Hey, Donna, happy Sunday to you. Jamrock, Ingrid. It is a very beautiful day out here. It was a little bit choppier earlier, but it seemed like it was going to get worse, but it's holding up. It's looking pretty good out there. Chiming in from Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome. K Natural, hello. Wheaton coming in from Stamford, Connecticut. Jersey in the house. Cool. All right, we got yeah, that's good. All right, we got another wider angle here. of myself. So looking good out here. Hey, Gina. Yeah, it is a beautiful Sunday out here indeed. KP, London, Auntie, shouting out the Bula shirt. Yes, of course, of course. Thank you. Hi, Marie. Marie asks, how can I create networks or friends before moving? Hey, you're in the right place, right here in the comment section. Good first step. Shayna, hello, welcome. Thanks for hopping on. Hey, Fernando. Good seeing you, man. Good seeing you on this. Monique chiming in from Toronto, Country Gal, and Boston. Hope the weather's getting a little bit better up there. Winston in UK. Ronnie, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you all for letting me know where you're chiming in from. We're going to hop right into the agenda. As you all know, I like going right into it. No hitches. Hey, Dennis, thanks for coming on. Fort Lauderdale in the house. UK again. A lot of UK here. Awesome. I love it. All right. First article we got is going with our continued theme with the bauxite. This was I guess it just keeps coming up, and so with this, name of the article is "Social Cost of Bauxite Alumina Production in Jamaica." And so, in our previous discussions, I haven't read this article, so we'll see where it takes us. But in our previous discussions, we've been, for the most part, reading and bringing to the forum pro-bauxite, pro-manufacturing articles. This one, I'm not sure which direction we're going in, but we shall see and hear shortly. I will, of course, go ahead and throw the link in the comments, and I'm going to read it. And then if you would like to read along, you can do that as well. So got your link right there. And I will take this off so you can look at the beautiful calm waters that we have here in the grill today. Let's hop into it. So this was in the Jamaican Gleaner, Sunday, March 27th. And it was written by, I think Ernie is the dude that wrote it. Let me just make sure. Yep, it is. Ernie Niemi. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I am not, but let's do this. Jamaica is unique and wonderful. I heard the exclamation again and again over the past several months whenever I told colleagues that I was examining economic issues associated with bauxite alumina industry in Jamaica for JET's Red Dirt publication. JET is Jamaica Environment Trust, I believe, but they're environmental agency. Just the mention of Jamaica and everyone responded with an ear-to-ear smile and stories about the beautiful island, the people, the culture, the food, the athletes, the music, and more. From an economic perspective, though, Jamaica is neither unique nor wonderful. Instead, Jamaica looks like countless other places with large mining and manufacturing industries that degrade the natural environment. The industry itself receives a lot of attention because it generates important economic benefits, exports, jobs, sales, and income for local vendors and government revenue. But the more important story is that the environmental degradation imposes widespread larger costs on workers, families, businesses, communities, and future generations. Subtitle: Diminished Well-Being of Society. Economists use the term social cost to describe these costs because they diminish the well-being of society as a whole. They materialize through several mechanisms, including, for example, loss of life, health, security, social harmony, and our quality of life. Pollution from bauxite alumina industry and related activities can make people sick, and industry cause dislocation of families from their homes and disrupt cherished patterns of social interaction. Reduction in the supply of an existing good or service. Pollution from the industry imposes costs on farmers and consumers wherever it decreases the size of locally produced crops. Constraints on other industries. The industry imposes costs on business owners, workers, and communities associated with the tourism industry wherever its activities and pollution diminish Jamaica's attractiveness to potential visitors, causing some to spend less while in Jamaica and inducing others to stay away. Next, increased in the cost of living. When the industry displaces and communities, some Jamaicans incur higher costs to visit relatives, conduct business, attend school, and find jobs. Increase in risk. Individuals, families, businesses, and communities experience a reduction in well being when subjected to industry based risks. These include risk of death, injury, and property damage if mud lake dams were to fail. Industry related activities at the port that involve handling of hazardous materials create risk of accidents, spills, or explosions that would injure or kill individuals, poison the environment, and keep people from engaging in their preferred activities. The full list of different social costs borne by Jamaicans is almost endless, which raises an important questions. How big are the industry's social costs and how do they compare with its benefits? To measure the social costs, economists look at the economic value of the reductions in well-being that Jamaicans experience. Some components of this value can be measured in a straightforward manner. The money people pay to secure health care when they and their children are made ill by the industry's air pollution, for example. Many components, however, are more difficult to measure because they are not traded in markets and have no price. These include the pain and suffering that people endure when they are made ill by air pollution, as well as reductions in well being that result from degradations in water, air, forest, soils, marine systems, etc. Air pollution. Air pollutant, excuse me. Jamaica has not compiled data to estimate the industry's social costs, but data from different sources show that three air pollutants from the industry, small particles, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides, generate social costs and other about 2.9 billion to 13 billion US dollars each year. These costs occur through premature death, hospital administrations, asthma, acute bronchitis, lost days of work, absence from school, and restrictions on outdoor activity, to name a few. Additional social costs materialize whenever the industry's actions degrade an ecosystem. Research conducted for the World Bank shows that for each hectare of forest degradation, just four types of negative effects on water recreation, non-wood forest products, and habitat and protection for species generate social costs of about 2,340 US dollars. Social costs also occur as the industry's emissions of CO2, about 1 ton for every 5 tons of bauxite. And industry intensifies the climate crisis. Recently, sorry, that's ton. Recently, peer-reviewed analysis of social costs per ton indicate that in 2018, when the industry emitted about 2 million tons of CO2, those emissions will cause social costs to Jamaicans and others about zero point 0.8 billion to 6.6 billion. So how do these social costs compare with the industry's economic benefits? A common measure of the benefits is the industry's contribution to Jamaica's gross domestic product, which has been about 1 billion US dollars per year. Some industry supporters claim that the other benefits should be added to the mix, but so far have not produced any credible numbers, even if the benefits other than GDP were added to the mix. It seems likely that the benefits are just a fraction of the three estimates of social costs outlined by previous paragraphs, and there are many others that haven't been quantified yet. Some of the social costs will jump if the industry goes forward with plans to mine the cockpit country as defined by the cockpit country stakeholders boundary. Many of the social costs and their harmful effects have been known for decades. Why hasn't the industry eliminated them, or at least some of them? Are compensated the Jamaicans who are harmed by them. With high bauxite and alumina prices expected to continue for a while, corporate owners have a choice. Will they convert the additional revenue per ton of bauxite and alumina into higher profits for themselves, and maybe use the high prices as an excuse to expand operations, thereby imposing even greater social costs on Jamaicans? Or will they keep the profits unchanged and use the additional revenue from the higher prices to lessen and compensate for the social costs? Sure, profits are important, as are wages for workers, revenues for government, etc. But the industry's social costs are so large that until the industry acts decisively to reduce them, Jamaica will never be unique and wonderful as it deserves to be. Ernie Naemi is president of Natural Resources Economics Incorporated. The content and opinions expressed herein may change as new information becomes available. This is the third in a series of articles by the authors of Red Dirt, a review of the bauxite alumina industry, which was composed by the Jet. And that's the end of the article. All right, let me see. Got a little noise in the background here. Gonna bring down the mic a little bit. Hope everybody can still hear me, and maybe a little background noise went down. So yeah, a very different perspective on the bauxite industry here in Jamaica. It seems like this gentleman is really coming at it from an environmental perspective and raises a lot of good points with the social economic costs that are associated with mining bauxite. But I think anything that you do in terms of development, it's like one of those things that you have to look into the environment and social costs that are associated with that. And there are always going to be consequences in doing that, and disrupting and uplifting in a negative way the environment. So he makes a lot of strong arguments as to, I guess, not why not to do it, or look into different aspects of those consequences of mining, and then also what can be done to mitigate those consequences. So if you have any questions or feedback on that article and on Ernie's take on the bauxite alumina industry, please feel free to throw them in the comments. And if you want to further discuss, we can do that. If not, we can always move on to the next article that we have ready to go. Oh yeah, listen to London. Push the like button, family. It's free. All right, Jeff has a comment. Government should enact laws to clean up the bauxite industry. These laws have been lax. Fines and confiscation of mines are needed. Absolutely. Yes, there should be a high responsibility for making sure that the environment is made a priority, and that if there are lines crossed, that there are consequences that are upheld and people held accountable for their actions. They did mention the consideration for mining the cockpit country. As far as I know and I'm aware, that is no longer a possibility, and the cockpit country, as far as I know and from what I read, is basically essentially made a safe haven, and it will not be mined. So this might have been put out before that announcement was made. All right, if I don't see any other comments on this, we can move on to the next article. Hey Jason, beautiful day indeed. All right, let's get on to the next article. All right, so as you may or may not be aware, the Prime Minister was in DC last week, and the United States to invest $30 million US in Jamaica. So I haven't read this one either, so we will be learning what this is about together. I'm going to go ahead and throw the link in the comments. So if you'd like to read along, you can do that. If not, I am more than happy to be reading it for everyone. And let's bring down this so we can see the beautiful 7 miles that we have there. And I'll bring up the article for myself. Right, let's see. Okay, the United States to invest $30 million in Jamaica. So this was on the JIS website, it's a Jamaican government website. I'm not seeing an, oh, here, author, written by Derek Scott. All right, Jamaica is set to benefit from investments of 30 million US dollars from the United States. Let's see if we can get, there I am, okay. From the United States. Development follows a meeting between U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris and Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, at the White House on Wednesday, March 30th. The investment by the U.S. government includes $20 million to boost commerce between the two nations and a further $10 million to address human capital development and violence reduction for at-risk youth. Prime Minister Holness said that the areas of cooperation discussed by himself and the vice president included violence prevention through intelligence and information sharing and investment in violence reduction programs targeting at-risk youth, human capacity development, particularly in relation to cybersecurity and digital technology, and regional energy security and infrastructure. He said that Vice President Harris has also committed her further support for the health sector and the country's coronavirus recovery efforts. The vice president expressed agreement for the establishment of a working group between Jamaica and the U.S. to discuss issues unique to the island and to continue dialogue. Prime Minister Holness arrived in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, March 29th for a 5-day working visit. He is accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Jamaica's ambassador to the U.S., Audrey Marks, and Finance and Public Service Minister, the Honorable Nigel Clark. The Prime Minister will have high-level congressional meetings with Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer and Chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Robert Menendez, and members of the committee. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Gregory Meeks will also host a meeting for the Prime Minister with members of the body. The Prime Minister's 5-day working visit will also include talks with the chair of the House Finance Committee, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and chair of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on State and Foreign Operations, Congresswoman Barbara Lee. He also addressed members of the Washington, D.C. press at the National Press Club. Prime Minister Holness will be the special guest at the Let's Connect with Ambassador Marks online town hall meeting on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, where he's expected to highlight the island's development at 60 years of independence and outline the efforts made to facilitate expanded diaspora participation in the economy. While in Washington, D.C., Prime Minister Holness will also meet with the embassy staff, as well as members of the Jamaican Central Labor Organization, which oversees the U.S. Farm Work Program. The Prime Minister is expected to return to the island on April 3rd, 2022. All right, and that is the article. So that's good. Got some investment happening and coming in from the U.S., and it sounds like some pretty important programs with cybersecurity, and I like the one about investing in at-risk youth, which is certainly a passion of mine and my family's. just looking at the clouds that are forming behind us and seeing if we're okay. It seems like we're okay. But yeah, cool article. Cool to know that that's happening, and the relations between the U.S. and Jamaica continue to be developed, and it seemed like the Prime Minister had a pretty productive trip out there. Let's have over to these comments. All right. DJ Mystic 5 says, I think there was a big issue as to whether they are able to mine a portion of the country. Okay, I will double check and look at that. This is in respect to the previous article that we read. Yes, the Prime Minister was here in the States meeting with Kamala. That's right. Afro Kinky Hair says, this is on the previous article. I grew up next to Alpart, and the health consequences were devastating. Wipe out an entire community, kill trees, health issues, etc. An entire community had to relocate. Wow, I've never actually heard of that. I've never heard of those consequences. So obviously they're super real. You're speaking from experience here, and yeah, we would not want a repeat of that. And I hope that that's not happening now, right? That times have changed, hopefully, and that consequences of that nature are no longer occurring, and that there are precautions being put in place as to make sure that things like that don't happen. That's pretty crazy. Thank you for that, Afro Kinky Hair. Appreciate that. But that is pretty astonishing, I have to say. I was not aware of that. Right. If there are no questions here or comments on that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next article. All right, let's do this. Okay, so is this one actually an article? Okay, so this one is not an article. So continue to stick with the finance and economic theme that we have going on here. This is actually brought to my attention initially by a subscriber for the registration of the Investing in Jamaica. It was an online Zoom conference meeting, and it was put on by Consulate General of Jamaica, New York, and titled Investing in Jamaica Virtual Forum. And so I will put a link in the comments here, so you can go ahead. I think it's 4 hours and change, but that is the whole forum right there. That is the whole discussion. I haven't watched it. I'll probably skim through it and take a look and see if I can get anything out of it. But if you're interested, you can go ahead and click that link, and you can go ahead and watch it. But I thought it's a rather interesting thing given the theme of the channel and the direction that we're heading in, and the interest everybody is showing in investing in Jamaica in a variety of ways. So there is the link to the YouTube. All right, and we'll move on to the next one. I'm busy. If you want to speak to me and I'm busy, I'm live streaming. All right, we will go on to the next one. This is so moving away from economics. This is more of a fun one, I think. All right, let me take this down. I've got a pretty interesting question there. All right, somebody asks, good afternoon. I know that you live in Negril, but do you have any thoughts about the American Airlines flight to begin this November in Ocho Rios? Yeah, I heard about that. I think that's pretty cool. I think correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's twice a week, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it's twice a day, but I thought it was twice a week if I read that correctly. I think that's really, really exciting, and it speaks to the direction that the country is heading in. We talk a lot about, at least a few times on the actual podcast, a few podcasts I had about the development of Port Antonio and Portland, and obviously flying into Ochi is a lot closer than flying into Montego Bay to get to, say, Port Antonio. And of course, I believe they're also developing the Ian Fleming Airport out there, if I'm not mistaken. At least if it's not something I read, then there's probably rumors that I heard. But nonetheless, there is a highlighted interest in developing the continuation of the development of that side of the island, and to get flights going into Ochi, like that's pretty awesome. That's probably pretty cool for that side of the island, and for especially Ocho Rios hotels and attractions. That's just so much easier. I believe that you're probably looking at, from Montego Bay Airport to Ochi, what would you say, hour and was that hour and a half, 2 hours to Ochi? I mean, depending on how you drive, but if you could do that instantaneously, I don't know what prices are looking like, but I would presume that it's fairly similarly priced to flying to Montego Bay. And then, even though American Airlines is like the first airline to do it, I'm sure other airlines are going to follow suit. And of course, increased competition is going to be better for us, the consumers. And I think it's great for that side of the island. I think it's great for the entire island of Jamaica. More flights, more options, and I definitely encourage that. Hopefully, we have an airport here in Negril. It's a small one, so we can't have commercial flights or anything like that. But I would love to see at some point that the airport gets expanded, or maybe it's moved to another part of Negril. An idea, I was actually talking to Mr. Grizzle. He's the owner of Shirella Inn, and he had the idea of developing an airport on the West End. Like, there is tons of land over there. That's West End Negril, and can definitely handle like an airstrip. And there used to be, from what I heard, an airstrip there back in the day in the 70s for importing other types of cargo. So the I guess it's been proven that it's possible. So I think that would be great for Negril. That would be amazing. Negril is one of the most popular tourist towns in Jamaica, and if we had direct flights here, oh my goodness, I think that would be a huge game changer. Obviously, a ridiculous investment for either the government or a private institution to do. They would have to see a lot in Negril, which I think there's a lot here. So we will see if that is even a possibility. But I thought that was a great idea from Mr. Grizzle. Thank you for that comment. All right. Let's see. Blessings. Isn't this event already happened? Yeah, it did already happen. This is in regards to the investment conference. Yeah, it happened last week, the week before, I guess. And I just put the link up top for if anybody who missed it, who is interested in watching it or rewatching it. That's obviously not live, but all the information that you could be interested in would be in that YouTube link that I put there in the comments. Oh, Jamrock confirmed it for me. Yes, the Ian Fleming Airport is in Boscoville, close to Ochi. Oh, American Airlines is flying small jets. The Ian Fleming Airport is too short and not able to handle 737 type jets, but there is talk to extend. Right. I think that's what I heard. That they're considering expanding that. So thank you for that, Jeff. Appreciate it. Safi Anderson says, hey, I see New Kingston has had initial approval for a 26-floor building for residential and commercial called the Ascent. It would be the tallest in the Caribbean. How do you see 2022 for JA? Oh wow, that's I think I heard that, but I didn't know the height. I didn't know it was going to be so tall. That's pretty incredible, but it speaks to a lot of what we talk about here in regards to just the direction that Jamaica is heading in, and the development, particularly in Kingston, that's taking place. And I know every week I keep promising this Kingston video, but there is a good reason, which I'll get to, as to why we didn't get the Kingston video out this week. We were focused on other aspects of the channel, which I am excited to share with you, and I'll share with you momentarily after we get past this next article. But yeah, I mean, it's like I continue to advocate, and these examples that you all bring up, and that these articles that we read, and I'm not like pushing this on you or pushing this on anybody, but I'm just kind of presenting this information as to what's happening, what I'm seeing here on the ground, contrasted to what I've seen and experienced in previous years. And I continue to say, like, I haven't really seen things of this nature happening, at least on this consistent basis and at this level, financially, economically, that's happening throughout the island, more particularly in Kingston. Hence why we spent so much time in Kingston, and why we're putting together this Kingston real estate development video, which we'll get soon. I promise. But again, we'll get into the reasons as to why we couldn't really work on it this week. But I think the future looks bright. I'm very bullish on Jamaica, more so than I ever have been before. And even from hospitality, and I'm speaking also internally from a hospitality perspective, not only just from what I'm seeing from foreign direct investment. When you look at our numbers here at the hotel, when you look at Negril, and when you see the bounce back that we've had from coronavirus, not just here at Travelers, but even when I go to other resorts and other properties, other restaurants for dinner, and for different meals, and visiting friends who are staying at other places, you see the activity. When I run the streets, when I run the beach, you see the activity and the numbers that are here. Of course, we are technically still in the winter season, but the summer is looking pretty good. I believe we read an article a couple of weeks ago with the Minister of Tourism speaking to the positiveness of the summer numbers and what that's looking like. And of course, anything can happen, especially we got a war going on. So, who knows how that's going to affect things. But as it stands now, things are looking positive, at least for 2022. And investing in the long term, there continues to be a high interest. Bringing it back to here in Negril, the development that's happening in Green Island, as far as I know and I have seen, even throughout the recent months with Corona, they kept building as I was driving. I haven't seen what the development is looking like, but when you're driving to Montego Bay or you're driving to Lucy, you see the trucks and you see activity continue to happen. And it doesn't seem to me as if they slow down. And like all these things, like I kind of make these mental notes. I'm like, man, if these guys are continuing to invest and continuing to build and develop, even during this time, during Corona, during a war that recently started, that's something good to see. And as I get these little indicators and these dots of information, I of course present them and bring them to the attention of the channel and to the attention of everybody hopping on here. So thank you for your insight there, Safi. And I'm gonna definitely look more into that and to that 26-story building. I don't know if that's I doubt that's the Terra Nova, because I feel like they would have told me that, because we didn't visit the new Terra Nova development, but we kept hearing about the new development that is kind of across the way from 20 South, if anybody's familiar with that development, which has been kind of almost like the standard for modern residential development in Kingston. At least that's what I've been told and kind of hearing in terms of being in the city center. And it looks, from what everybody's saying, Terra Nova is looking pretty amazing. All right, let's get back to the comments here. Hey, Shika and Omar, welcome. Thanks for hopping on. The cost of real estate in GJ Mr. Vice says the cost of real estate in Jamaica is crazy. Yeah. So I talk about that craziness and this upcoming upcoming Kingston development vlog that I keep alluding to, that we will get to at some point in time. You guys will see it soon. And yeah, but like, it's one of those things where you look at it now and you like look at these prices and you're like, this is insane. And I've seen it and then you can also see what they were bought at the time, and the the increase in value that these properties have gotten. And I'm not saying it's worth it. I'm not saying that it's a good investment in terms of you're getting a deal. We could be at the top of the market. That's one of the things that we discussed with the broker. Like, are we in a real estate bubble? Is this bubble going to burst? And she answers, I don't want to give it away, but she gives a very comprehensive answer on that, and her answer brought a real understanding. And obviously, she's coming at it from a real estate broker's perspective, but nonetheless, at least to me, what she's saying makes sense. And so it could be one of those things where it's like, another real estate realtor who's working for that brokerage company. We had a podcast, and we spent a lot of time with him, and he spent a lot of time in New York. So a lot of the references we had in the podcast that we did with him was that of Brooklyn, comparing Jamaica or comparing Kingston to Brooklyn. And he's like, yeah, right now investing in Kingston is like investing and putting down a house in our apartment in downtown Brooklyn, or in Williamsburg, or even maybe not East New York, but if you understand downtown Brooklyn, but if you understand what has happened in the last 10 or 20 years in Brooklyn, like you kind of can relate to what I mean. And early 2000s in Brooklyn, I mean, my mom lived in like the worst parts of Brooklyn in the 90s and in the early 2000s. And some of these places at that time, I would never want to go back there. But then you look at those neighborhoods now, it's like crazy. And so a good example of that is downtown Kingston on the waterfront. And it's beautiful, downtown Kingston, absolutely beautiful, but it's still pretty rough, but it's like investing in East New York now in Brooklyn, which is I remember in the 90s, East New York was like the worst neighborhood. And my mother lived there too at one point. And I was like, man, I was like so scared just walking through that neighborhood, because it was just like crack houses everywhere. And I'm not saying there are crack houses in downtown Kingston, but it's like the surrounding area is like, yeah, it's kind of rough kind of thing, but it's getting better and better and better. And you can see the direction that downtown Kingston is going. And you can see like how beautiful that waterfront is, like when you look purely from an infrastructure standpoint, and you're just like, man. And then another thing that we discussed, that there's I forget the name of it, but there's a prison there, the big prison that they have in Kingston is right there on the waterfront. I mean, we're talking prime real estate. And there's discussions of actually moving that prison somewhere else, because that's a prime location. So something to think about. And depending on your real estate experience, which I really don't have a lot. I would say most of my experience is coming from working with professionals on this channel, and who I've talked to, and I'm learning so much from them. And I would say it's something to look into for yourself. I hope that the real estate video that I have for Kingston brings a lot of insight and hopefully answers some of these questions and concerns that you may have, particularly about the expensiveness of these properties, of these apartments in particular. All right. Synthwave Pro, afternoon. Good afternoon, Throp. Hey there. Would Negril ever allow the development of high-rise condo structures? So I've brought this up before, and there is where should I start? Okay, so Negril has always had the law from the 50s or 60s, I can't remember, that no hotel or building shall be taller than the tallest coconut tree. And that changed when Royalton came into town, and they changed the height ordinance, so you can go to 4 floors. And then they also changed the building ordinance as to how close that you can build to the high water mark on the beach. And so the high watermark placement actually got reduced, so you can actually build closer, which I don't think was too smart, but hey, that's my opinion. And then the buildings, you're able to go taller. So Royalton, Negril is the only building or buildings that are higher than 3 stories in Negril. And what has happened in recent years as well is that there's this new development that I was talking about before in Green Island. They're calling this the new Negril. And from what I understand, that they are able to go 10 stories, if I'm not mistaken. And what that has done has also, I believe, has opened the eyes of Negril stakeholders. And we're like, hey, if they can go 10 stories, we should be allowed to go 10 stories too. And the idea, I guess the idea of that is that we don't want investment opportunities or our land values to go down because we're competing with the new Negril that is happening just north of the quote unquote old Negril, and we want to be competitive in that nature. And if we want to go higher, we want to be able to go higher. So to answer your question, there is consideration for allowing buildings to go in Negril as we know it to go up to between 8 and 10 stories. It is rumored there is a property that has already made an application for a building for 8 stories. So it seems like things are heading in that nature. And then once you have stakeholders and current investors that are on board with that thinking and saying, hey, yes, we have to be allowed to do that as well. It's just a matter of the government saying, okay, no problem. And then, of course, the environmental agencies and studying whether or not and studying the understanding of the impact that that would have on the environment. But it seems like there's no promises, of course, but it seems like it's going in that direction. I'm not saying, I don't know if you consider 8 or 10 stories high-rise buildings. For Negril, that would definitely be high-rise buildings for sure. And, I have mixed feelings about that. But I think at the end of the day, we can't deny the direction and the interest that the country the country has at this moment in time, especially from an investment perspective. And if that's what it takes for us to remain competitive and to attract more investors, and then of course more residents to move here, and then of course more tourists to come here to visit and experience Jamaica, then I think inevitably we will be heading in that direction. But of course we want to do it in a safe, economic, and environmentally friendly way. So yes, thank you for that comment, synth wave pro. I do think that we will be heading in that direction in some form or fashion in the near future. Yeah. I guess you just heard my explanation with that, Jeff. So no longer the case, but yeah, that used to be the law for many years. Ocean Gray says, I think that Port Royal would be the perfect tourist destination, considering that you have cruises coming into Port Royal. What better place to develop? I agree. And it looks beautiful. Like when you're on the downtown Kingston proper waterfront looking over at Port Royal. Absolutely beautiful. Katia B says too much development and gentrification is a slippery slope, especially when native descendants of Jamaica are priced and pushed out. And then she continues with, honestly, I think I could be wrong. Honestly, unpopular opinion, I don't want all that because the essence of Jamaica seems to get ruined. Prayerfully not. Blessings to everyone. No, good point. Good point. I think because I see because that's happened in Brooklyn. That's happened in my neighborhood, and you're seeing it. Black people, especially like Caribbean people who've been there for decades and generations, are being pushed out of traditionally black neighborhoods in Brooklyn, and I don't want that to. I would hate for that to happen here. And I would hate for that to happen where locals, Jamaicans who've been here just can't afford to live here. I think that's so unfair. And I think we need to learn from other countries, other cities that have been developed, that we just put our foot down like, no, we're not going to allow this to happen. I mean, even in New York City, like I hear people are living and commuting from Pennsylvania, which is crazy because they can't, think about bus drivers, think about train operators, like the people who run and keep the city going. They can't they can't afford to live within a close vicinity of where they work, and they have to take these crazy commutes just to get into work. And I would hate for that to happen in Jamaica. I would hate for that to happen in Negril. I think some parts of Jamaica that's already happening. And I definitely think that there should be something in place and say, hey, we're not going to allow this to happen to our people. We're going to have put a plan in place to ensure that development of this nature takes in consideration the people who have been here, and they have to be able to afford, and maybe they do what they, and I don't know how helpful this is, but in Brooklyn they do have low, they like every building that goes up has to have a percentage of their apartments that are dedicated to low income housing, low income families, and low income individuals. So that may be also something that they might want to consider. I don't know how helpful and what that impact is, but I'm sure for the individuals who are living in these brand new buildings who are under the auspices of low income, that are they're paying an affordable rent, that changes that family's life, and they're able to live within proximity of where they work, and then they're also in a brand new building, so their quality of life is way up there. Yes. Janine says gentrification. Yeah, that's something, again, we want to definitely fight. Melinda says, I lived and still have a house next to the penitentiary or prison. Calvin's getting at me for this Kingston video. Soon come with the video, real Jamaican style. Sorry, man. Sorry. This is it's gonna get out there at some point. I promise. I promise. Safi Anderson says there is a concern about a lack of hospitality workers in JA. They tend to get trained up and leave due to poor wages. Development is great, but we need to pay our people well to make sure they stay. That's a good point. I think it depends on every place is different, right? Every hotel is different. Every restaurant is different in terms of what they pay, how the gratuity works, etc., etc. But like I always say, like we need to do, as far as industries that we attract to Jamaica, and of course me being biased with Negril, is like we do have to start getting away from hospitality. It is one of those, it's a driving force for Jamaica right now, and um, outside of remuneration of funds coming from foreign, from abroad to Jamaica, hospitality is the second biggest income. Sorry, just checking the weather here. I see people getting up from the beach. The second biggest revenue source for Jamaica. Um, it is something. I saw it is something that I think about often in terms of how can we continue to diversify and give other opportunities outside of hospitality, outside of sun and sand, so to speak. And it's one of those things that I continue to meditate and think on a regular basis. But to me, like that's the answer, and it's just like how can we continue to create opportunity for individuals, and then also, going back to the education point, like how can we continue to further educate our young people, get them on the right track, and then teach them, in my opinion, they should be teaching young people how to create opportunities for themselves. So good point there. Robert said Negril needs a hospital that's outsourced from a foreign company that is completely corrupt. This is holding back sales and investments since the market is turning Jamaicans and expats. I'm from BK. So I'm not clear on your comment, but there is a hospital, private hospital, that is being built here in Negril at this current moment in time. And I do plan on interviewing Dr. Foster, who is heading it, and he is a Jamaican doctor. He's a Jamaican doctor. So, hopefully once it is complete or near completion in the near future, I can get him on the podcast and we can speak further about it. Ketchia says, yes, I'm a woman, and yes, in my Mobay, natives are often banned from particular areas. Thank you for this forum. You're welcome. Sorry to hear about that. The Mobay, I wasn't not aware of that. Lorraine says generation has been completely played out in London, and the community most affected was the Caribbean gentrification. I think she meant affected was the Caribbean, specifically the Jamaican community. Brixton, predominantly Jamaican community, is all but gone. Yeah, happening all over the world, unfortunately, all over the world. I got to that comment already. Safi says, I don't think the prices in Jamaica are as bad as people say. Islands such as Barbados have always had high real estate costs. People think that prices should stay low forever, but it's not reality. Good point. And like I was alluding to before, like it's like we think these prices are high now, but again, based on the podcast that I've had, discussions that I had with the broker, like it's going to go up. You're also seeing that here in Negril, and I've talked about this before in previous lives. Synthwave process, perhaps a mandate for affordable housing can be implemented with every condo development, meaning that in a building you'd have 35% of affordable housing requirement minimum. Yes, I think that's a great idea. And something that we should put in place. I also think like two other things, like with housing development here in Negril, there should be a requirement for a percentage of those buildings or developments to have renewable energy, and also some sort of water catchment system, because water harvesting system, I should say, because these are precious resources, and I know we have great aquifers and great water here in Jamaica, but I do not think we should be taking that for granted. And I think modern buildings and modern development should have some sort of component of water harvesting. And I would have, even here at Travelers, I mean, I wish we had thought of that in the beginning. But I think if I were to ever do a development in the future, solar water harvesting, like it will from day one, would be part of the plan, because one, JPS is crazy in terms of prices, and then same thing with NWC, really, really high. And anybody doing business here, like those are the first two pieces of overhead that you have to think of immediately, and it has to be almost a strategy that you have to plan around whatever your business is, in implementing that into your model, because it is such a high cost here, unfortunately, both of those things. But great comment, great idea, Synthwave Pro. Robert says the existing hospital is outsourced and corrupt. We don't have a hospital in Negril, so I'm not sure if you are referring to Savlamar Hospital that is outsourced and corrupt. I don't know that to be true, and I don't know it to be outsourced. And maybe you can lend some clarification on that. Lorraine says the Windrush scandal in the UK, again, mainly affecting the Jamaican community. Apologies on my last post. Yes, I'm in gentrification. Yeah, we got you, Lorraine. Yeah, I've heard of this, and the Windrush movement, and my dad was a part of that, and he was affected by that as well, because his first move out of Jamaica was to London, was to England, back in the day, and yes, he was affected by that as well. Hey, Sade, thank you for hopping on, channel member. It says Jamaica needs more water well drilling companies that can drill water wells for a good price, like they have in Africa. Yeah, I'm not too familiar on that subject, but I do know and understand that cruise ships that come in the Caribbean, they all come to Jamaica to fill up their tanks, and I'm sure that is a big revenue source for the government. But again, I don't know how this stuff works scientifically. Like, are those things going to run out? Do we get enough water? Do they just refill? I don't know. But to me, like, how can we go wrong by implementing water harvesting strategies on new buildings? Like, we can't, taking rainwater, treating it, and then using it for, I guess you can use it for drinking water. You can use it for your laundry. You can use it for toilet water, whatever have you. But these are the things, again, I'm thinking when I start investing in developments and future development, that definitely going to have these things implemented. Shade says, in many South African countries, you can put a water well in for about $1,400. I know my dad tried to actually do that on a property we have in the West End, but it didn't work out too well. again, we don't know. Put a lot of money into digging this hole. I guess to your point, Sade, we just got a dude that had some digging equipment and dug a hole down there a well. And I'm sure there's like a way to test the water before you spend all this money on digging this hole to nowhere, which is what we did. And I was very against it, for the record, but Dad did it anyway. And yeah, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. It was the water was brackish, so we couldn't use that water. So we were trying to use it for farming purposes. That's why we dug that hole. But yeah, if we had an expert company that knew how to do this on a professional way, yeah, I think that's a good idea, and I think that would be a kind of a good opportunity for people who wanted to get water from the well. All right. So it says at a well and living in South Salem, New York. Joanne says, understand the need for more hospitals, the way the land is purchased, and does not support the surrounding community in the USA. There are programs for help which help existing communities when foreigners. Yeah, I do hope the like even the hospital that is here that is being built here in Negril, like almost across the street from Travelers. I hope there is a component for locals, and they could be already, and I just don't. I'm not familiar, or no, do I know what their business plan is and how it's structured? But from what I do understand, it's private. It's being built by a private doctor, so I would assume that's what he's doing it for. And but nonetheless, I think it's a great addition to Negril, and it's going to further attract tourists here and visitors, and it's also going to further attract families and residents to come here. It's a huge, huge selling factor. All right, we are going to get into the last article here, which is I think it's a quick one. And it's a fun one, positive one. Again, this is outside of the economics. So, popular travel guide ranks Jamaica Beach among top 10 in the Caribbean. So, I mean, we talked about this before. We don't got to read the article. We don't have to read the article. I think this says it all for the most part, and it's just again speaks to Negril here and the beach and the competitive advantage that we have here. I'm just going to take the filter off of. Let me see if we can do this. All right, I'm going to take the filter off of this camera because it's getting a little dark from what I see. 1 second. All right, I think that's a little better. All right, yeah, it's a little bit better without the filter on. All right, moving right along. Thanks for joining us, Benny. All right, so what do we got here left on the agenda? Okay, so few announcements, and then we can continue to open up the discussion to any questions anybody may have. But that's the end of all the articles that I have. And let's get this going. All right, so this is my excuse as to why I couldn't. All right, I didn't get the Kingston video out. Let's put me up on the big screen here, so you know it's serious. So I couldn't because I was working on the redesign of my studio. So if you are a channel member or you support the channel on Patreon, you already know what I'm talking about. And let's see if we can get the studio up. So this is the new design that we have of the studio, which I am very happy with. I've basically been working on this started the process in January started, I think sometime in January. I got in contact with a local designer here in Jamaica. She's from Montego Bay. That's Felicia. And we worked together to get this going. And she took different elements of my personality and also the podcast, and she threw it into this new design that we have here for the studio. I actually shot the first episode in the studio 2 days ago, which was awesome, with a family that is actually moving from Canada back to Jamaica, and they should be completing their move before the end of the year, by the summer actually. And yeah, super happy with the new studio, and that's what we've been working on this entire week. And it was supposed to be like a 1-day build out in terms of like we did the demo, and then they were supposed to come in, like the construction guys, they were supposed to come in and refurbish everything and do it all in 1 day. But of course, we have a little Jamaica thing going on. So we had some hiccups, which I expected. I was super patient. I wasn't upset or frustrated by anything. And this was a good process. I can definitely recommend working with Felicia. I liked her style and what she brought to the table. And we eventually got it done. But again, it took longer. I thought I was going to be done actually the week before, but this went into Thursday. I just got the AC up and running because I don't know if you know, we like right above the throp sign, the AC used to be there. And so we actually had to move it twice because we moved it. If you can see in like the upper right-hand corner, that's where we moved it from the first time. And we realized like, no, it's still in the camera. So we actually moved it again. So the guys here at Travelers, the shout out to the maintenance team here at Travelers, they did an awesome job in moving the AC twice. And I just got it up and running yesterday. So we were like working in a fan cool studio, which it got pretty hot in there, which was fine, but I wasn't in my editing element. So I really couldn't build any momentum with editing Kingston or doing any editing at all, as a matter of fact. So now I am pretty much settled. I wiped up all the dust that's there. There's a couple of little knickknacks, if you will, that need to be added, some fine tuning with the studio. But again, really happy with the way it turned out. And if you are interested, we actually sat down and we did a podcast, and I'm going to be putting this up tonight, should be tonight, if not first thing in the morning. So those who are channel members, are Patreons, you will have access to that. You'll have access to that between today and tomorrow, next 24 hours. You can see that Patreon and members only podcast and sit down with Felicia, get to know her a little bit about her and how she got into design. She's also a realtor. She talks a little bit about Montego Bay real estate as well. It's a short one, but I think it was quite interesting discussion. So if you want, Vanessa, if you can just put a link to the Patreon, to my Patreon, in the comment section. And if you are interested and want to support the channel further, and then of course see pretty cool insights and get a little bit of insight into what's happening with the channel before it actually happens, and see these private and exclusive podcasts that I have with guests like Felicia, you can go ahead and click on that link and support the Patreon channel, which is simply patreon.com/throp, THROP. And then of course you can become a channel member here as well, and you will have access to that. So that's what we've been working on for the last week, and that's my big excuse as to why I have not put out the Kingston series as yet. I thought that was rain. I was like, my heart keeps jumping. It's just the waves though. So yeah, that's that. We'll have that coming out momentarily, shortly. I'm just hopping over to the comments. Thank you, SoFly. Love it. Thank you, Kiyanda. Thank you, Chelsea. Appreciate it. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Sade. Benjamin says, love the map, but I think a JA flag would be sweet. So yeah, with the map, we discussed this as well. It was like a last second idea. The map was my idea. I will take credit for that. But we wanted something subtle, because in the original mock-up there was nothing that said Jamaica, and then of course I didn't want anything to scream Jamaica either. So I just like the subtlety of the map going on there. So I'm very, very happy with that. Synthwave Pro, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Congrats on the studio. You guys have done an excellent job. Can't wait to hear the room acoustics. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate the donation so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the comments and the compliments, I should say. All right, so that's the big update that we have here. So anytime we do any podcast inside, this will be the setup. So you guys are seeing it here outside of channel members. You are seeing it here first, and I'm really excited to share this with you. And like I said, yeah, hop on Patreon, and if you want to see the interview and support the channel, there actually I will go ahead and put that in the link in the comments. Okay. That is the update. But now that I am settled, I can confidently say Kingston will be out this week, because that's it. This is what I'm be focusing on. There's nothing more that I'm going to be as far as construction or demolition or anything like that. I am settled. My desk is set up. Got my monitor. AC is working. We are good to go. Full throttle. You guys will get Kingston this week. All right, let's keep it moving here. Thank you, Robert. Thank you very much. Thank you. The carving is a better choice than the map of Jamaica. The carving, I think you mean the outline, maybe. Thank you. Well, thank you, Ocean. Appreciate that. Appreciate your comment. All right. So I also promised I think in the comments or last week that we have some drone footage here. I wish it was longer because I want to take a bathroom break. Oh, KB, thank you for that. Thank you. But anyway, we will go ahead and throw up this drone footage. And then after the drone footage, please, any comments that you have or questions, we can throw it in there. Mosaic, thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, start throwing them in the comments. Any questions that you may have. We're going to throw up this drone footage. So I'm going to let you guys watch the drone footage, and I'm gonna run to the bathroom, and you will get back after it finishes, you'll start seeing the beach here again. So I'm gonna hop to the restroom and let this drone footage play. I think it gives me about 40 something seconds, which I can't use the bathroom in that short period of time, but here you go. All right, I'm back. Actually, I haven't even watched that drone footage, so I don't know. What do you think? um, let's see. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna throw up that drone footage, and we can talk through it real quick. Hope you don't mind watching it again. Okay, that is Booby Cay Island. This is on the northern part of the beach. Got a little glass bottom boat action there. This is Travelers and Shields to the right. And then to the left is Negril Beach Club. Another glass bottom boat. I think that's out in front of Travelers again. It's people hanging out. Yeah, more Travelers. Sea Beast, that is the glass bottom boat at our scuba shop here. So you have that, and we are back. That was the drone footage. I'm going to try and get some more of that, some more drone footage for you all. All right, let's get back to some comments here. Robert says very professional branding reflected in that design. Thank you so much. Onworth says, won't you be having Jessica Cargill on your channel for an interview? I think it would be a great interview in the studio. Nope, definitely on my priority list. I haven't followed up on that. Thank you for the reminder. So I will definitely do that. Vanessa, if you can make a note of that. I'm going to reach out to her this week. Vanessa, if you can just make a note on reaching out to Jessica Cargill, we will try to do that this week and figure out a date and time. If you don't do these things right away, sometimes it may not happen. So we'll try to get on the pod ASAP. Phoenix is me. That's awesome. Very inspiring to see you constantly evolving. Thanks for sharing. Absolutely welcome. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being a subscriber. Flashback says, almost sure that the hospital building for the rich people. I'm not sure. I don't know, again, their motto at all. We will see who it is for. But it seems my instinct is telling me that it is a private hospital, but I don't know that. So I don't know that for sure. So at some point we will get Dr. Foster on and we will speak more about it and get all the details that we need. And I will share that with you all as soon as I possibly can. Safi Anderson says, with construction costs so high, how does the government build low-income housing? They'll be building at a loss, which is not sustainable. Need to think outside the box, container or bamboo homes. Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point. I think that that's something, and I this is definitely something that I wrestle with a lot. Like, what is the answer to that? How can we create sustainable housing, sustainable economical housing for low income individuals? Because I feel like as the country, in terms of investment, continues to develop, it shouldn't be for like a small select group of people that should be feeling these benefits. Like everybody should be feeling it. Jamaicans on a whole, their quality of life should be increased. And a big part of that quality of life to me is the home that they live in, the neighborhoods that they live in and raise their families. And so I don't know the answer to that. I don't have a well thought out solution, but yeah, it should be I know they have through NHT, the National Housing Trust, they have these very low income, like everybody low income loans, low interest loans, excuse me, that everybody has access to once you've paid in a certain amount into it. So that's something to think about. I know a lot of and they don't give these homes away, mind you. They don't give them away. You are able to pay for it through NHT. That's like a lot of people rely on these loans. I believe it's up to 6 million Jamaican dollars, if I'm not mistaken. And so that is an avenue I know a lot of people take. And regardless of your income level, you have, as long as you're Jamaican paying into the tax system, paying into the National Housing Trust system, you have access to this I believe only once in a lifetime you're able to do this. And if I'm wrong on that, please, somebody can please correct me. But to, further going down the line of that, I think, yes, we have to deal with the low income now, and we have to deal with the quality of life now that people are experiencing. But the long term, to me, is focusing on education, focusing on opportunities for people for work, and as a country, we'll be able to take ourselves out of this. Like, to me, like, that is the answer to many of these concerns, or many of the challenges that we face today, is continuing educating our people like crazy. Like, that should be like the main priority. In the last podcast that I had 2 podcasts ago, I believe, talked about needing a high school in Negril. We don't have a high school in Negril, which is mind-boggling to me. A lot of the schools that we have here in Negril, they're overpopulated. I won't say a lot. There are schools here that are overpopulated, so we need, basic schools and quality of education. I don't know what that is like in terms of how is that being controlled, how is that being monitored, how is that being measured. So I think that is something that we continuously and always need to be looking into, and making sure that we are continuing to grow as a society and educate our children at the highest of levels. Long answer, but that's how I feel on that. Thank you for that, Safi. I think that was a great insight, great question that you had. KTL says, throughout these Sunday lives are everything. The images are such a peaceful vibe. Thank you. You are very welcome. Speaking of peaceful vibe, thank you very much for joining in. Sorry, Rocco and Lori, CBDC thoughts. What is that? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Safi Anderson says TBJ has just had a special on broken bridges, and NWA gave eye-watering cost on repairs due to building costs. Check it out. It's absolutely ridiculous. JA needs to produce material to save cost. I will take a look at that. Yeah, I know everything's imported. What do you expect? Everything that we have here is imported. I would hope and assume like the wood is at least we're getting here. But you know, most stuff is coming from abroad, I would say. But yeah, I know building construction costs in general is crazy here. Thank you. Janine says drone is perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, T. Jada says, I'm happy you're going to interview Jessica. We are talking about that on her live a week ago. Coming on my channel? Were you? Yeah, she's got it. Yeah, gotta make it happen. She's got to come on. You're welcome, Rocco. The Shade says the NHT is how Jamaica pays for affordable homes. That's right. Gillette says, hi, Throp. Good to be with you again. Beach looks amazing as usual. I introduced my daughter, Nadine, to your channel. Turned out she knows you and your family personally. Awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you to your daughter for subscribing, hopefully. Joanne says, even the USA private hospital does not exclude anyone in need of care, emergent or catastrophic, if that is the closest and available facility. Yep. Yeah, I don't think you can, if there is a trauma situation, you have to at least take care of them and take care of a person. Like if there's an accident or something like that, and a doctor has an obligation to help out. Rocco and Lori says handouts don't work. Give people their dignity with a good job. Agreed. I think there has been a lot of that in the past, and I think as a country we are more than capable of doing a lot of things ourselves and creating opportunity for ourselves. I truly believe that. But if we raise our our kids and our students in a way that facilitates being given money instead of earning and working for it, then I think that's a bad precedent to set. And I don't think we as a country want to head in that direction. And I would venture to think we're getting out of that, getting out of that. I hope we are, at least. Ingrid says the answer is to try and get the Jamaican population to better paying jobs. I agree. But I think we need to have industries, again, diversify industries that we have here. And then also, it's like, all right, we want better paying jobs, but I think we need to develop industries that create those better paying jobs. And it shouldn't come from, it shouldn't only come from hospitality. So as I talk about Negril, many times I've talked about bringing IT and technology opportunities to Negril. Like, this is one thing. Like, technology can work from anywhere in the world, and I think Negril has the infrastructure to have industries of that nature here. So we have that here, but we don't want a situation where we're bringing in brain power, only bringing in brain power into Negril, and they set up shop here and they have their companies here, and their people are moving to Jamaica, like say an American company is having their people move to Jamaica and work from Jamaica because they're a digital company, and that there are no Jamaican jobs created. I'd rather a situation where we are training programmers, robotics become part of a curriculum, and that these are the jobs that we are pushing our students to, and into IT. And I can't speak to the curriculum that there is in schools right now, but like, you can be a programmer coming out of high school. You can be a programmer who doesn't have any sort of formal education. You can go online and take these courses, and you can be a software developer, a software engineer. Anybody can has access to this now. Hopefully, if you have a computer, you have the internet access. That's a whole nother story. But I think these are the ways that we need to be thinking as far as job creation. I don't think continuing to build out. We do need some traditional brick and mortar companies here, but I mean, I think we should be focusing on more high level job opportunities that are out there. And I always say, like, we're living in 2022. We should be thinking of showing kids, like, students, that they can really create opportunities for themselves through the internet. And we actually had started, I think this is the second or third class yesterday. So with my family's nonprofit organization, Negril Education Environment Trust, we have these Saturday morning classes every week where students and their parents come, and we teach different life skills. And one of the things that we started teaching is we have essentially a filmmaking class, and they're almost doing what I'm doing, like in interviewing different people and interviewing different kids about different subject matters. And my hopes is that this is a small group of kids, but they're loving it and they're having fun. I mean, my hope is that we start teaching them about the camera. We start teaching them about sound and interview and lighting, all these different things, is that they see themselves as like, hey, maybe I could be a sound guy. Hey, maybe I can have my own YouTube channel. Hey, maybe I can do this and do that. And that they become interested in these, I would say, non-traditional career paths that are out there that are very viable. And that I've always say, like, you can be an editor here in Jamaica and make foreign money abroad. There are so many different freelance websites that are out there. If you have the skills and you can do these basic things, you can make money. You don't have to make money from Jamaican company, because I can do that. With my editing skills, I can go and work for companies and I make on one gig, make what people make on their checks here in one day. And to me, it's like, can we open our eyes to this? Can we create industries, and can we create pockets of individuals who do this and who find this fun, who have a passion for filmmaking, who have a passion for editing? And there's so many different avenues of this nature, that there are companies and small businesses who don't have the innate skills to put together a website, or to make a simple app, or to put together and edit a video that they did on their smartphone, but they just want to put it out there. And these kids are capable of doing this. Like, a good example of this is that they filmed an interview, and everything they're doing is with their own gear. So they're filming on their phone, they're editing on their phone, everything. They came up with their own logo, and it's just like, don't tell me these kids can't do this. Don't tell me that they don't have the potential to do that. They filmed the whole interview on their by themselves. They edited it by themselves. I didn't teach them anything. They did this all by themselves, and then I just kind of guide them along, and they were like, hey, we need like an intro. What do you guys think about having the logo and the name and intro? And within an hour, they had a drop with the logo, music, sound, subscribe button. I'm like, come on. And again, as simple and as easy as they sound, and these kids they're all like teenagers. One of them is Matthew, I think is, oh no, he didn't do it. But I think they're all between 12 and 16 or 17, young kids, super, super capable, but they just need guidance and like people to show them like, hey, this is an opportunity for you. This could possibly be a career for you. And so this is just kind of a real world example for me that I saw yesterday. I'm just like, man. And so every Saturday, we're just going to get together for a little bit. I'm going to see what they got, critique, and then move on. But they're going to be learning it themselves, and they're going to be they've pretty much taught themselves. But I'm just going to help them as much as I can with my skill sets that I've learned over the years with the production of this channel. And again, I think they're gonna do well as long as they continue to be passionate about it. But yeah, that's through our nonprofit organization, the Negril Education Environment Trust. That's the website if you are interested in taking a look at it, and you can see some of the great work that we have done over the years. Let's hop back to the comments here. Oh, Rocco. Okay, I see what you're saying. Jamdex, Jamaican digital currency. I don't know too much about it. I actually don't know anything about it. I just know it's there. I need to look further into this, so I can't really comment on that, Rocco and Lori. I don't know anything at all, but we're moving in the direction of digital currency, which is where the world is going. So I don't think it can be a bad thing. Patricia says, my daughter is staying at Travelers in December. Hope I get to meet you. Love your channel. Very informative. And I love the interviews. I'm a Negril once or twice a year for 3 to 6 weeks in the winter. Yep. Looking forward to meeting you. Hopefully you can stop by. Looking forward to hosting your daughter when she gets here. Joan says, so true. As a technologist, I would love to facilitate these opportunities and options to Jamaican youth and adults. However, there has to be gainful employment to follow. Yeah, we don't have gainful employment. Like, we don't have a technology company that's looking to pick people out of college. Negril, that is. We don't have that in Negril. But if we can set them up on a track where they can, again, work for foreign technology companies here in Jamaica, and we have the human resources and skill sets in our kids and in our students, why not? They wouldn't care if they're living in Jamaica. Can they do the work? They don't care that they don't have a degree. Can they program? Can they edit? That's all any company cares. Like, even me, like if I was looking for a foreign editor as well, but I found locally here. I was looking all over. But at the end of the day, as my company grows here and I look at outsourcing, if I meet somebody in Kingston who can do an editing job, I'm going to hire them and do it that way, because I don't need them here physically with what I'm doing. And there are a lot of going to continue to go down this path of technology. Good point. So that says, I recruit programmers, and companies recruit a lot of people from trade schools like General Assembly. You're right. A university degree is not required for IT. There you go. Point made right there. These companies don't care about that, and I'm not saying, I went to college, I went to grad school. I think education is important, but I also think that technology, the way that we are here and now, is like, we can skip a lot of these steps. Like, we don't have to push our kids to put themselves in debt. A lot of them do put themselves in debt, and then there are no jobs in these traditional job settings, or it's not what they thought it was going to be from a financial perspective. And so if you are a kid or a young person who just graduated high school and you love technology, you love social media, there are so many ways that you can make money on this. But again, these kids don't understand that because they don't have the guidance. The kids who I was working with yesterday, I don't think they grasp the concept that, like, as simple as it was when they put that logo together, or what they're doing and editing on their phones, there is tons and tons of value in that. Yes, they may not have the best camera, they may not have the best computer, they may not have the best phone, but at the end of the day, they can do, and they have information in their mind and in their head, and skill sets in their mind and in their head that they can use for the benefit of companies abroad, and also themselves as a freelancer or an employee of that company. And it's just a matter of like setting yourself up, branding yourself and marketing yourself, and then knowing where to look for said opportunities on the internet. And they need guidance in that part. So I do think if you can kind of create a pipeline, so to speak, and show these young people where and how they can do it, I think they can take themselves and out of out of poverty, and also give themselves these opportunities, create opportunities for themselves. Hey, Star Love, thanks for hopping on. Ketya says tech is great and has many avenues, and education is needed, but also skills, farming, plumbing, electrical engineering, construction, etc. go a long way. Like Garvey had factories producing essentials. I agree with that. But to me, like with these skills, these traditional trade skills, it's and I'll put farming aside. It's like, I think if you're going to be a plumber, or you're going to be a carpenter, especially, or be in construction, like you really got to separate yourself, because it's hard to find, like anybody can find an electrician, but like, are they good? Are they reliable? Do they show up? Are they doing everything by code? Same thing with carpenters. Very, very, very hard to find a good carpenter in Negril. I recently found one, and I'm not letting this guy go. And when I say a good carpenter, like, they're very skilled carpenters. Don't get me wrong. Don't mistake what I'm trying to say here. They're extremely skilled carpenters in Negril. There are a lot of skilled carpenters. I mean, their wood workmanship is amazing, second to none. But the problem lies is that they're overworked and they overcommit. And so they can't meet deadlines. They don't say what like, that has been my experience here in Negril, that is. There are very few in between. I've worked with carpenters outside of Negril, and that experience has been very different. Jamaican carpenters, just the same, and they have come through on their word. But here in Negril, I think there is just so much carpentry work. It's just overflowing, and these guys will just say yes, so the next man doesn't get it, and they push you off. And so they'll never meet a deadline. But I just did recently found a guy. He actually did laminate flooring in my office. I don't think in my studio. And it wasn't on the pictures that I had up recently. So they were installed at late last week, and he's actually coming back this week to do some final touches. But he said I was like, we wanted to meet the next day for him to come in. I was like, yeah, I usually get in around 9. He's like, hey, is there any way you can get in at 8? I was like, yeah, no problem. Guy shows up at 8, super clean, cleans like his cuts were super neat, super professional. Him and his guys, he had all his equipment, very respectful that we were at a hotel, and he had like a low decibel saw. I don't know what it was, so he was able to cut the laminate like pretty evenly and also very quietly. And then he was clean in his work, and then he was clean after he left. He cleaned up all his shavings, put them in baths, everything super, super professional, showed up on time, got a great job done, and he was clean. First time I found that in the grill. First time ever. So I'm not gonna let dude go, and I'm also gonna try and get him more jobs. Hopefully he won't be overworked like everybody else. But that's very hard. Again, hard to find when it comes to at least carpenters in the grill. But good point there, Katia. I'm gonna keep going through. The comments are piling in. I keep spending a lot of time on these questions. Hey Lisa, thanks for joining in. Thanks for hopping in. Sade, can you guys add that training to your nonprofit education organization? All you need to do is 1 or 2 people to do it. You can even get an online volunteer to teach. Good idea. Great idea, Sade. I'm asking Vanessa if you can make a note on that. Of like seeing if we could find an online volunteer who can teach these things. I mean, even just an hour on a Saturday We can set it up in the family room on the big screen, and they can go through like a tutorial. Great idea. Great idea. Okay. Trisha says, my husband was born and raised in Negril. He is a home remodel and construction contractor. He's interested in volunteering to teach skills at your school. Awesome. I think that's great. I think we can definitely make that happen, especially on a Saturday. Even if you just came and your husband came just to speak to the kids and learning about different careers, because that's the other thing. I think a big part of it as well is exposure. Yesterday we had the fire department come in, and like they were all dressed up in their fire brigade suits, and they gave a lesson on I walked into the middle of it, but I think like fire prevention and what to do if there's a fire. So that was also good, but it's also a way to get some insight into what a career might look like as a fireman here in Jamaica. So yeah, I would definitely appreciate that, Patricia. If you can shoot me an email on that, Patricia, throp@thropmedia.com, that would be great. Because he says true Throp, because JA artists pop every week and all of them are mad talented and have massive following and money flowing to them. There you go. Benny says during the 70s, most Jamaicans had a skill/trade talent, but slowly American influence, including ammunition, was promoted to decibel and stunt growth and development. Anything to promote independence is great. Awesome. Sancho says, Mr. Throp, I must commend you on how much you are advocating for Negril. I wanted to come and settle in Portland. Tuning into your Sunday lives is making me more curious about Negril. Okay, it's working. It's working. Thank you. And of course, if you have any Negril specific questions, please ask away or shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Charlie says Jamaican high schools say that they are teaching entrepreneurial skills. They also need to teach customer service skills so that people can have successful business. Yep, I agree. That's so important. Even if you are an IT company, customer service is everything, because that's what you're doing it for. At the end of the day, you will have a customer that you will be accountable to. All right, let's see more comments here. Sade says, I love what your nonprofit is doing. Thank you so much. Okay, Patricia's gonna hit me up. Dieter Morgan says, I'm Jamaican living in Canada. I've been an IT professional for 25 years. Is there a demand for my skill in the grill of Portland? Absolutely. There is. I don't know what aspect you are in IT, but I can definitely tell you that I think there's so much opportunity for IT solutions. I don't know if you're software, I don't know if you're hardware, networking, whatever it is, but I know that is greatly needed in the grill. My thing is like, there's no IT company that I know of that you can come here and work for. I would think would be better for you to kind of come and set up your own shop. Finding the support in terms of human resources to support your business, that again, depending on what you may be thinking, might be a little bit challenging. That might more likely might have to come outside of the grill, but nonetheless, I think you can find those skill sets in Jamaica, again, depending on what it is. But I think you can find those skill sets in Jamaica. The trick is now, how do you get them to move to the grill? So that's another thing to take in consideration. But I would love to hear more about it, Dieter. I'm gonna throw my email there because I'm gonna talk. I want to talk to you about that, because I do want to speak to more IT people about coming to Negril and what kind of resources that you would need to be successful, and what do you need, and to see if you can if I can help you or help provide any resources to make your transition, and I know you're considering it and you haven't made a commitment or anything like that, but if I could kind of help you build a picture on what it may look like, or maybe, after talking with me, you're like, no, it's never going to work. So, but at least we explore the idea or the possibility of setting up some sort of IT company here. So please, if you would, Dieter, if you can just shoot me an email at throp@thropmedia.com, and maybe we can just further discuss that a little bit and figure out if it's something that's feasible to do. I'd be more than happy to help you out with something of that nature. All right. I think we got all the got some more comments here. Benny says Portland is away from it all, luscious and laid back, mostly untapped. If you're looking for peace, it's the place. I agree. I love Portland. It's one of probably my favorite getaway, as a matter of fact. But I don't get there. It's all the way on the other side of the island, so I don't get there too often. But when I do, absolutely love it. I will take any excuse to get to Portland anytime. Really, really amazing. I do enjoy it out there. Lenworth says definitely need to introduce more renewable energy industries in Jamaica. These needs to be introduced to the younger generation so that they feel there's a career opportunity. I agree. Totally agree. And we got this sun, man. Got all this sun. Got to use it to our advantage. Right. Let me know if you guys got any more questions or comments coming in. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark. Just double checking the agenda here, making sure that we don't have any miss anything. Oh, they have some music here. I didn't realize. I just scrolled a little bit lower. Let's see what this sounds like. I don't know if I can hear it, but it might be cool. This is good to know. I have this music here, so when I take a bathroom break, I can always throw this music on. I can't tell how loud it is, to be honest, but I hope it's not too loud. But I just scrolled down and I just saw this. This looks like a new feature that they have on this program here. Pretty cool. All right, keep the questions coming. Any comments or questions? Star Love says she would like to. I don't know if not she would like to assist. Let me know how would you like to assist, and if you want, you can shoot me an email and we can see how we can work together on this. I'm gonna turn that music off. I don't know if that's helping or hurting. I'll get you guys back to the beach view. Thanks, North. Good to know. All right, we're going to start winding down here. So if you have any last minute questions or comments, please let me know. Always happy to answer them. We are coming to the end of another live from the 7 Mile. Always fun, always interesting. Nice comments. Had some cool articles, I think, especially the bauxite one, which is completely counter to how and what we've been discussing in regards to the bauxite industry here in Jamaica. But I think it's always good to get different perspectives on different investments and also different realities for different people. So let's see. Okay, Alfonso, we got a comment in here. I think you should highlight the upcoming World Free Zone Conference that we'll be hosting in Montego Bay, June 14th to 17th. Big opportunity for investors across the globe. Didn't even know about that. Vanessa, if you can make a note of that for us to look into that. Excuse me. Thank you. I will. Thank you, Alfonso, for that. Always hitting me with some gems. Always hitting me with some stuff I don't even know about. Appreciate that, Alfonso. We'll look into that and see if I could bring that to the forefront. Yes, Sade. Thank you, everyone. Please hit the like button. Would appreciate that. Okay, we're winding down, everybody. If you got any questions, last minute questions, get them in. Oh, yeah, I see that boat there. I'm actually setting up to do a podcast. Tiki, what is it called? Hold on, I'll get the name of it in a second. But the Tiki boat, going to be interviewing them. Very popular experience here in Negril. Dwayne P says, "Hi, can you do a show with Moira and Gail from Treehouse, both expats?" Yes, I reached out to Gail a while back, but we were supposed to do it like the same week that I reached out to her, but I got COVID, so we didn't happen. But yeah, I gotta talk back to her and set that up again. Dieter says, "Thank you. I'll be in touch." Awesome. Looking forward to it. Hey, Throp. Jackie says, "Hello." And Shada says, "We need 30 more likes. Let's go. Let's get the likes up." Let's get the likes up. All right. Okay. We are going to wind down here. The comments are slowing up. So I'm going to go ahead and start closing out. Thankfully, the weather held up. Still a little cloudy in the north, which is usually where the rain comes from. But we had a good day. It was a beautiful day here in Negril. And another beautiful Sunday live. Thankfully, we are able to be out here on the beach. And Princess correcting me. Tiki Boat Bar. That's right. That's the name of it. They just sailed off. That's them. Right, Alfonso, you did tell me to check out the budget presentation. That's on the list. Vanessa, if you could just make a note of that as well. Want to check out that budget presentation. You're telling me that a lot of interesting things were happening in there. Yes, I will do that. Thank you again for the reminder, Alfonso. Albert says, "What's up, Throp? Thinking of moving back intermittently to Stony Hill, but you sure pushing me to grow." Okay, again, it's working. It's working. So we actually did part of my Kingston not interview, Kingston series. We actually went to a development in Stony Hill, and beautiful views from up there. Oh my goodness. You can see the Mona Dam from up there. You can basically see all of Kingston from up there. Beautiful views from there. So I'm super, super excited to share all of this with you all. But you'll get the first episode this week. You'll be getting the first episode this week. But all right, continuing our close out. Thank you, DJ Mystic Vibes. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot this word on the investment conference. Yes. Okay. Wow. You guys are great. Okay, so there is a word. So we are, boom, there we go. So I actually have the domain and everything. So this is actually on my Thought Media website. But you can start if you are interested in the conference. So for those that might not be aware, I am doing a investment conference in November, and this really came from the channel here and you all, the subscribers and supporters of the channel, of doing something of this nature. So November 10th to the 14th, Thursday, November 10th to Monday, November 14th, we are having the investment conference here at Travelers. And essentially, it's an opportunity for everyone to meet many of the guests who I've had on the podcast, and also to meet and interact with professional services individuals. We'll have everybody from personal finance investors, realtors, real estate brokers, developers, contractors, basically everything that you can think of. If you were considering moving to Jamaica, who do I need to speak to? What would that conversation be like? And then also, how much is this going to cost me? What kind of income do I have to have, etc. And all these answers that I'm trying to get answered in a nutshell. And of course, everybody has their own individual situation. And I want people to be able to talk and speak extensively to individuals to help them along with this process. And I've spoken to many of these professional service people, and they are super, super highly interested in being a part of it. And they really want to help out. And I'm excited to introduce you to them. And a lot of them, from my podcast, and you will continue to get to know. So I'm actually going to be bringing on repeats, if you will, to reintroduce them, because the channel has grown quite a bit in the last year. So to reintroduce them to individuals who just joined the channel, and also as a reminder, for people who have already seen interviews with these individuals. So that is the conference. So if you are interested at all, we'll be sending out newsletters. And so if you want to be part of the newsletter, you can go to that link that I just put there, and we'll put you on the newsletter so you're aware of any updates that are happening. And once the actual site is launched, everybody will know. Of course, you'll know here on the live, but if you're on the newsletter list, you will know that, and you can sign up through the website and understand soup to nuts what the conference is, the itinerary, what we're going to be doing. We're also going to be doing site visits to different commercial properties, residential properties here in Negril, as well as land that's for sale. So there will be a day actually dedicated to that, to being on the road and going around Negril and giving everybody who is part of the conference a real feel of what it would be like to live here, what it would be like to invest here. So if this is something you're considering, like dipping your toe into this, going down this path, I would say this conference is something that you should consider. So even if you have a little bit of a thought about coming down, or a little bit of a thought of moving to Jamaica or investing in Jamaica, you can go ahead and put your name and email address on the list there. If you scroll down a little bit, the field is there, and you can put your name on the list, and I'll begin sending you information on the conference and what it's going to be about. So thank you for that, DJ Mystic Vibes. I can't believe I almost forgot that. It was on the list. I promise. So thank you for that. And yeah, hit up that website, that splash page that I had there, and throw your email address in there if you're interested. Much, much appreciated for the reminder. All right, I got a few more comments coming in. Jack says, "Hey Throp, I really appreciate these lives. This is giving me so much info. I'm planning to live part-time in JA and definitely want to be able to volunteer my time. Not sure yet where I will be living." Okay, cool. I'm glad these lives are helpful. That definitely is a point. I do enjoy doing them. I love interacting with you all. I love answering your questions and reading your comments and reading these articles that we always talk about. So I appreciate your time and appreciate you hopping on with us. Millicent said you're doing a great job. Look forward to your live on Sunday. Awesome. Thank you for joining, Millicent. Right. Benny says Ian Fleming Airport and flights coming in is going to be a plus for St. Mary's, Portland, St. Thomas area. Yep, I agree. That whole eastern part of the island is definitely going to benefit in major ways from there. From that. Oh, Vanessa says Lenworth Lewis HR Consulting, a big demand in Jamaica. Someone asked me that question. I did not know the answer. I don't know if it's. I don't know if that's a big. I really don't know if that's a big big demand. I would presume in Kingston for sure. You just got that's where the corporations are for the the major corporations. I would also possibly think in the larger hotels they probably need would need services of that nature, but I really can't speak to that too much, to be honest. Okay, all right. So we're gonna wrap up there. We broke the 2 hour mark, and as always, I really appreciate everybody hopping in on these lives. I love doing them, as I was mentioning before. So in any event, we will be here again, God's willing, next Sunday, same time, same place. We always try to hit that 12 p.m. Eastern time. I guess we're on Central Time now here in Jamaica. That we didn't do daylight savings, but we never make it. But I thank you for everyone for making it nonetheless, and hopping in on here. And going to leave it there. I'm going to, of course, leave you with the beach view, and I will see you all next week, same time, same place. You will get Kingston from me. And again, if you're interested in seeing the interview that I had with the designer for my new studio, it's going to be on Patreon, for Patreon members only, and for channel members only. You guys can check that out. It was a really interesting discussion that we had. And once again, oh, let me get Sade again. She has a comment here. Thought maybe you can have a teacher or school principal at the conference to tell people about the school systems. And Jay, great idea. Great idea. I was going to have a nonprofit component to it, but I think we will do this plus the nonprofit as well. I think that's a great idea. Vanessa, if you can make a note of that as well, please, about bringing in somebody maybe even from the Ministry of Education who can break this down for all of us so we can get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Great idea. Lisa says, hi, I'm new to your channel and really enjoying your live interviews. Looking forward to learning more about great things happening in Jamaica. Absolutely. Benny, thank you. All right, that's it, folks. I will see you next week, and look out for the first episode of the Kingston series some point this week. Peace.